Welcome to Guide Mia. Today we're going to talk about creating a Cympha case directly from Cympha Studio. This one is for the clinician who has assembled a patient scans, CBCT, photos, and annotations in Studio and wants to send the whole thing to a lab in one action, instead of downloading files locally and re-uploading them. By the end, you'll know how to assemble the virtual patient, package it with the Create Cympha Case menu item, find a lab and submit, and where the case appears on app. Cympha.com once it's in. The real payoff of this path is that your work product survives the handoff. The lab opens exactly the scene you built. A few minutes is all it takes. Follow along in Studio, or listen now and read later. Start with why this path exists, because there's a simpler looking one right next to it. You could always download your files and upload them into the new case form on app. Cympha.com. The form accepts files. What it doesn't accept is a scene. Studio's handoff carries your work product across: the camera angle you left the scene at, the photo gallery, the distance measurements you dropped, the annotated snapshots, the clinical intent. All of it travels to the lab inside a CYP bundle. When the lab's designer opens the case in Studio, they see exactly what you saw, arranged exactly how you arranged it. That's the decision rule between the two paths. If you've done meaningful work in Studio that the lab should inherit, submit from Studio. If all you have is raw scanner output and a photo or two, the direct form is fine, and that from-scratch path has its own guide. 3 prerequisites. First, a Cympha account signed in. Create Cympha Case is a cloud action. Anonymous Studio sessions are sent to sign in. The sign-in lives on the hamburger menu's Cympha sign-in button. When you're in, it shows your email. Second, a Studio session with content actually loaded, at minimum 1 scan or a CBCT volume. But ideally, everything you'd hand a designer: upper and lower arches plus the bite, the CBCT, intraoral and facial photos, your annotated snapshots, and any measurements. The more complete the scene, the more the lab inherits. Third, optionally, your lab's name. Studio will send you to the new case form, which has a lab search. If you already know which lab you're sending to, having the name ready saves a step at the end. Step 1 is the work you're probably already doing: assembling the case in Studio before you submit. Load the scans through Open Optical Scan file, upper and lower arches plus the bite registration, and a facial scan through Add Facial Scan if you have one. Load the CBCT with Open DICOM, picking the unzipped folder of slices. If you want the scans aligned to bone, run Studio's landmark-based registration. The Studio Essentials Guide covers the basics. Add photos with Add Pictures, intraoral, facial, retraction, and they land in the gallery panel. And drop the measurements and annotations the lab actually needs to see. The distance tool measurements survive the handoff, and so do the gallery's circle marker annotations. What you've built at this point is the virtual patient, the assembled scene that's about to travel as a single bundle. Everything visible in your scene right now is what the lab will get. Step 2. Click the hamburger icon at the top left. Below the 2 menu columns, Models and Data, View and Help, sits a row of action buttons, and among them, Create Cympha Case, described as upload the loaded files to your Cympha cloud and start a new case. Before you click it, glance at the sign-in state. The Cympha sign-in button should be showing your email address. If it says sign in to Cympha instead, do that first. The action needs your cloud. Click Create Cympha Case and a small dialog opens with the same title and the body text. Name a new cloud folder. Upload the loaded DICOM, meshes, and images to it, then continue to case creation on Cympha. 1 input field, the case folder name. The convention most clinicians use is a patient identifier, initials plus date of birth, or your practice's case ID. Pick something recognizable. This folder name shows up later in your case list and in the lab's queue. Click Create and the dialog switches to a working state that narrates its own progress in 4 phases. Creating cloud folder. Studio asks the Cympha cloud for a new folder under your root. Preparing files. Studio collects everything loaded in the scene: the DICOM, zipped, the meshes, the gallery images, bundles the scene as a self-contained CYP file, and queues the upload list. Then uploading, file by file, with a running count and the current file name. Big DICOM volumes take a while. Meshes are fast. And finally, files uploaded, opening case creation. Your browser is redirected to the new case page on app. Cympha.com, pre-filled with the folder you just created. If anything fails mid-upload, you get an error right in the dialog, and importantly, the folder and any files that already made it stay put. Nothing is rolled back. You can retry or finish from the new case form instead. This is where the handoff pays off. You land on the new case form with the upload already done, every mesh, the CBCT, the photos, and the scene bundle attached and checked. The tedious part of case submission, gathering files, re-uploading them, wondering if you grabbed the right export. Simply didn't happen. What's left on this page is the part that actually needs you, telling Cympha what kind of case this is, who the patient is, and which lab should receive it. 3 decisions, 1 click each, and we'll walk them now. Notice also what this flow quietly guarantees. Because the files came from the live scene, the lab can never receive a stale or partial export. What you saw in the viewer a minute ago is byte for byte what's attached here. The form autofills the file list, but 3 fields are deliberately yours. Category. Studio doesn't infer it. Pick orthodontics for an aligner or fixed appliance case, implant for an implant case, or AlignerBot if you want the lab's AI aligner pipeline. Patient name and case description. Blank on purpose. Studio doesn't carry patient identifiers across the handoff, so you type them here. And the lab. The search field below the form finds labs as you type. Enter your lab's name and pick it from the matches. One boundary to know. The files are baked in from the handoff. You can untick any file to skip uploading it to the case, but you cannot add new files from disk on this page. Forgot a photo? Cancel back to Studio, add it to the scene, and rerun Create Cympha Case with the same folder name. It reuses the folder. When the 3 decisions are made, click Submit. After Submit, the case machinery takes over. Your case appears on app, Cympha.com with the status submitted. You're the customer, and the lab you picked is the lab. Every submitted case starts in the lab manager's inbox. When the manager assigns it to a designer, it moves to designing. And here's the moment the whole Studio path was for. When that designer opens the case in Studio, the scene bundle reconstructs your exact scene, same camera pose, same gallery photos, same measurements, same color overrides. They don't guess at what you were thinking. They're standing where you stood. Then you wait, productively. Cympha emails you when the lab's deliverable is ready and the case flips to awaiting approval. From there, the Approve or Reject guide in this series picks up the story. The snags in the order people hit them. Create Cympha Case isn't in the menu. Check you're actually on Studio, Cympha.com, and signed in. The sign-in button should show your email. The dialog says nothing to upload. Studio collected 0 files. The scene is empty, so load at least 1 scanned photo or DICOM volume and reopen the dialog. The upload fails partway. Nothing is lost. The folder and the files that made it stay in your cloud. Rerun Create Cympha Case with the same name and Studio reuses the existing folder. The new case form shows files you didn't expect. Studio collects everything currently loaded, including meshes you opened experimentally and forgot. Untick anything that shouldn't be on the case before submitting. And the DICOM didn't come across. Confirm the volume was actually loaded in the scene when you clicked, and watch the upload progress for an error. If it failed partway, rerun with the same folder name, and it completes. That's the flow. Assemble the virtual patient, 1 menu action, a folder name, and the form's 3 decisions, and the lab inherits your scene, not a pile of files. Once you've submitted this way a single time, the download and re-upload routine starts to feel like what it is, a lossy workaround. The companion lectures, Studio Essentials before this, and Approve or Reject a design after it, bracket this one on either side of the case's journey, so the whole path from first scan to approved design is covered. The written guide, with the exact dialog texts, the upload phases, and every troubleshooting case, is at Cympha.com. Open Docs and find Create a Cympha Case from Studio. We're walking the whole platform, 1 lecture at a time. Subscribe to catch the rest of the series. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.